So, welcome to Angel Update, the first one in this format on YouTube Live. And many of you have been watching with the angels here that we've been doing updates for a few years together. So, in this format, a little different than the Zoom, the audio is just one way. So, the way you can ask questions of the angels is to type it in the chat. And for those of you who are new to me as a channel, my name is Adria Estribou, and I channel Angels Ariel and Raphael. And they'll let you know who's speaking, and I'll let you know if I chime in with an anecdote or something practical. And for these angel updates, the monthly live channeling sessions, I don't know in advance what the topic is, so I like to turn it over to the angels and just see what they want to share. Sometimes it's information about what's going on energetically for us. Sometimes it's a process or a meditation. And then usually we like to keep the questions focused to what the angels have been sharing about. So this one's not so much about individual readings or something like that. You can definitely do those with me one-on-one privately, or join some of the other small groups. For this, we usually stay on 1, 2, or 3 topics. So either if you have a question about what the angels are sharing, or generally about the energies, that might become one of our topics for today if you ask a more general question. So let's begin. I'm just going to get out of the way and let the angels speak. I am a conscious channel, so I'm also here listening and participating with you and the angels. This is Raphael, Angel Raphael. Good. So today we're going to ground a little into the new presence of New Earth. We like this title, New Earth, not because it's the only or most accurate definition. You could call it Age of Aquarius. You could call it a new era for humanity, new era for Earth. New Earth is just a little simple and cute. If you've been following us through this channel, Adria, you know that we like to express things quite simply and directly. So new Earth to us is a way of saying, a shortcut of saying without so much shenanigans of language or sacred geometry and so on and timelines. All of that may be true, but New Earth just shortcuts to say, hey, something's very different here. The operating systems are different. You are new. So how do we navigate this together? That's the project. How do we navigate this together quite successfully so that you come into alignment with your new powers? We could say it that way. You really are quite powerful in new ways as a human on New Earth. So the angelic, the role here has always been to support humanity in its evolution. That has not changed for now. Perhaps we'll come up with new agreements together of how the angelic may support in new or different ways. For now, the angelic is still here to show you, to shed light on the fact that you are quite powerful, that you have abilities beyond what you seem to think of yourself right now. And we're here to give you a little nudge to crack out of that shell of old thinking that could hold you, if you didn't know any different, any better, could hold you into living in limited ways based on your old understanding of yourself. It's really that simple. There aren't really so many webs and experiments and so on. There's some of that. There's some hampering forces towards humanity still, a little. However, mostly what's keeping you back, if anything, is that you view yourself in the lens of old Earth, right? Well, 2 years ago, 5 years ago, 7 years ago, when I tried this, it didn't work. Or I did a very, very thorough catalog of my abilities, and this is who or what I am. Even if you hadn't done personal growth or change, which would be unlikely, right? But even if you hadn't done personal growth or change, when you stepped into New Earth, just by still existing here on this planet, you did come into new powers. We'll say it that way for today. Keep it cute and simple in our understanding. So New Earth has to do with how did you get here? Let's segue to that for a moment. It's not that you signed a new contract or you stepped through a doorway, some of you very consciously. Just by continuing to exist here in this life, your human life here on Earth, you have stepped into New Earth. If you have still been continuously alive on this planet in the last 3 to 5 years, this is the transition we are in. So for some of you, it's been quite palpably different and new. You've noticed at least something felt different at different waves here. So you might not be totally unaware, but you didn't necessarily see it with your eyeballs or feel it with your fingers. Oh, here I am opening the door, here I am stepping into New Earth. So these conversations, monthly conversations, are a lot about attuning to what's now, what's new in your human self. How can you be the most exhilarated form of yourself? This has a lot to do with your personal choice. The angels are not telling you there's a specific way of being that's important for you. What the angels are telling you is you are more powerful than you know. Let's explore. That's really it. So that once you know your powerful self and some ways of navigating the energies of New Earth, and those will continue to fluctuate and change. We'll speak about that as well as they change. As you navigate your more powerful self, you then have a greater understanding of what your choices are so that you can make the choices. Angels are not making the choices for you. Hopefully, you're not allowing other beings of any kind to make choices for you any longer. Because the freedom of humanity is all about I get to make my own choice, I get to make my own path. So, in reverence to the divine within you, the divinity within you that's expressing through the flowers, the trees, the plants, the birds, and yourself, we see divinity in all of these different threads of living New Earth. So it's not that you come out of alignment with what you might call God or spirit or angels, but you understand your role in directing your sovereign self, your sovereign heart space, and how you live from here. Good. So that's our overview to catch you up. Any of you who are new to us and our messages here, and there are many, many recordings you can catch up in depth with us. But we want to surge forward now to today, to the message of today, for those of you who have been following, so you don't feel today is all about catch up. Good. This is Ariel, Angel Ariel. So there's a tremendous wave of change here with us now on Earth, New Earth, also somewhat in Old Earth, and we'll explain. This might seem a little bit of an odd way of saying it, but there is a barrage of energies hitting Old Earth right now to destroy the world as you knew it. Do we mean that there's an asteroid headed to the planet or there's some missiles or something like that? No, we don't mean that. We don't mean a physical third dimensional destruction. It's more complete than that and also more light, more carefree. So we'll talk about this at length today and take your questions. Because for some of you, you're going to understand more palpably than ever before the choice that is before you. For a while now, 3 years or less, there has been what you could call a parallel of Old Earth and New Earth. So these Earths have been straddling themselves in some sense. So you have had the ability, and many of you have been going back and forth towards what we've called for shorthand third dimension and fifth dimension, or what you might call your more powerful self and your more confined or old, outmoded self. You've had access to both. The reasons for this are many. One is that people can transfer over at their own timing. You can acclimate to fifth dimension in smaller doses so that it doesn't feel so overwhelming and then go back to comfort zone. There's a lot of compassion in the way this has been designed and why it wasn't an overnight transition. At the same time, things are getting more dire in a sense. We do mean that quite lightly. We're making fun, but there's this predictions of the end of the earth. Well, yes, it's very true. But every day you have the end of yourself, in the cellular level and the beginning of something new. So destruction, change, new birth, that's an everyday occurrence in your life. You don't have to feel dramatic about that. So when we talk about the end of old earth, it's not an apocalypse we're talking about. We're talking about great, great refresh change. And finally, let's clear out some of this old debris, like when you restart your cell phone or your computer and all that stored knowledge, data that's no longer relevant and so on. It can just be cleared so you have a clear, fresh slate. It's more like that. It's not like missiles and destruction and so on. However, it is a destruction. It is a recycling of a great magnitude. So we'll speak more about this. So you can be very, very aware of your choices in this. The more you focus on how I used to be, how it used to be, what is quote unquote normal, the less comfortable or real Earth is going to feel to you. In other words, if you are choosing to stay in what we will call old Earth, which is just defined simply as your old understanding of yourself, built up from birth to, let's say, 3 years ago, all of that collective understanding and perception of yourself, what you are, how you navigate the world, the more you cling to that, the more surreal Earth or daily life is going to feel. Like a little disjointed, maybe a little deja vu feeling, just a little out of sorts. The more you are willing to dive into understanding and expression, oh, we're in new Earth now, so all the old rules don't apply, which means my own sense of myself does not apply. The easier it's going to feel, the more magical, the more light, the more free, the more you will see your creations take spark and root and fruit all in 1 hour, 1 year, instead of a lifetime. In other words, it feels like an acceleration of life, and you move through things very, very quickly. So if you think of yourself as a magical being or as a regular being living in a magical universe, either viewpoint works from our standpoint, from angelic view, then you can love the fact that things are so fast and you almost just blink your eyes and it's new. If you are trying to orient based on your old understanding of yourself and old Earth, then it feels like it's too fast. That's where the comparison, this too fast feeling comes. So many of you this week, this month, this hour have been struggling a little with this. Whoa, why are things so fast all of a sudden? This is a hallmark of New Earth. Things come into being very rapidly and you move through growth and change very rapidly. So if you can think of the number of times that in this life you felt like, oh my goodness, why is change so slow? Why can't I have what I want? Why am I stuck in this old paradigm or pattern? This is the antidote. We've come out of that. However, that's the familiar and the comfortable, so it can take some time to adjust. So be patient with yourself in this also. We are in an acceleration of time, quite literally. That's what it feels like to many of you, because that is literally from angelic viewpoint what is. Acceleration of time means I grow through things, I change through things, I create things at a very, very rapid rate, so that, let's look at what would the divine purpose of something like this be. It's not the only reason. The divine purpose for acceleration of time means you get to learn and accomplish and grow and share and help and heal more in the rest of this life than if time had not accelerated. We'll just pause here for a moment because we've also been speaking in accelerated time. Good. So the new, this is Angel Raphael, the new is a choice. You could choose, okay, I'm in accelerated time, however, I'd like to express that a little more slowly today. You can play around with that. For now, we just want you to be aware discomfort, the too fast feeling, is just because of the contrast with new earth with old earth. So it's neutral. It's just, it is a change. So you may be noticing that. That's all. So this is Ariel, to come back to this theme of destruction of old earth, or what the heck is going on with old earth, and what we were talking about in the beginning here of the acceleration. We are moving out of the time of the parallel side-by-side new earth, old earth. And old earth really does cease to exist over the next year, let's say. What that means is you don't have access anymore to the limited thinking. You don't have access to the old, slower ways of being. For shorthand, let's say that's what it means. It doesn't mean the world's blowing up and then you step in a spaceship and get off on a new Earth that looks the same but it's different. You already have done that in a sense. Most of you not with a spaceship involved. Some of you have had that experience, certainly. Also in old Earth. But for now, what we're talking about is the energetics landscape has changed so much that it's complete. The transition time between old and new earth is complete, which means you don't have to do this parallel game anymore. And so the disorientation you feel is in direct proportion to how much are you willing to let go of your old concept of yourself. If you can let go of your old concept of yourself, start fresh every hour, every day, with a curiosity, all right, what am I today? What's possible? The less you will feel disoriented, because you're not moving as slowly as before, because you're moving with more power than you did before. The more you have curiosity or embrace that, because you might not know what it is yet. That's why we say curiosity. It's okay not to understand what all of that means yet, or to viscerally feel it play out in your life yet. But the more you enjoy the fact that the change has occurred on Earth, that the bridge time is ending between old and new Earth, the less you need to worry about making choices in the old way. When you make a choice in the new way and you don't like something you created, like a peanut butter sandwich, oh, all right, well, I could go to the store and get an almond butter one, or I can just set this down. I don't like it, right? We're using the example of peanut butter sandwich because for many of you that doesn't feel like it's so expensive or so hard to undo that it's a big deal if you made a sandwich and you didn't like it, right? So life experience becomes more like that. Please don't force yourself to eat the whole sandwich when you don't like it. You meet someone and it felt like, oh, I thought this was going to be the love of my life, or my new business partner, or my new best friend, but 3 days or 3 dates later you think, no, I think I was just really supposed to learn about YouTube Live from that person, or a new hairstyle, or just enjoy a day with a different type of person. Maybe it wasn't supposed to be a 20-year thing. So you can enjoy the fact that with accelerated time, you also get accelerated changing circumstances, people moving through your life perhaps more quickly than before, and that's not a mistake or a failing in you. It's about accelerated change. It's that simple. Beautiful. So this is Adria. Angels are asking me to pause for questions. So there's a little bit of a delay here between when I speak and can see things on the chat and when it shows up live to you. But anyhow, whenever you hear this, if you have comments or questions for the angels about what they just spoke about, please do type it in the chat and then the angels can answer. Or if you've been feeling something recent in the energies and you have a question about that, I'd say that's open for questions as well. So I'll just be quiet here for a moment and let any questions come in. I'm still here. If any of you are wondering if your screen froze, we're just waiting to see if any questions come in. If not, then I'm sure the angels will have more to say. They always do. Great. So there's a question from Moira. What are the angels' messages re Ottawa and Canada truck freedom situation? Thank you. This is Raphael, Angel Raphael. Freedom is a good topic for today, so we'll speak a little bit about this, both generally and specific. It doesn't always have to be political here when you're thinking about freedom. Ultimately, what freedom is an expression of your free will choice. And if anyone or anything, any system is not letting you express your free will choice, you would call that lack of freedom. So we won't get into the politics about nation forming and all that. We could speak quite intellectually about this topic, but we just want to answer first generally about choice. When you feel if your choice has been taken away or it's been made for you, it is your freedom of expression. We'd say the positive aspects of this strike, let's call it, it could be called many things, is to say peacefully, no, we don't want this. You made a choice for us, but it's not our choice. That's not what we like. So in many systems of government around the world today, there is this ability to express a freedom of choice that's different from what is right now, to ask for change peacefully. Many, many means of doing this. So this is how we view this in an overview sense as an expression of free will choice. And wait a minute, someone made a choice for us and we don't like it. So there are many ways of doing that in your own government systems, in your own life with your family, most importantly, from angelic viewpoint, in your own energetic choosing of things. How do you want your life to be? What choices do you want to be open to you? It's very important, we would say, to speak generally on this topic, not to give up your free will choices to anyone or anything. Very, very important. So pay attention to that. Pay attention to that. If anyone's trying to think for you, particularly, you always have the right to have a different view. You always have that right. That's the most important thing we can say about this. For the angels, the outcome of a particular action is not so important, it's neutral. But for you to understand that you have choice and to exercise your choice in this era is quite important. Because collectively, when you look at many, many generations and years ago in humanity, there has been a theme of people choosing for you. And it seemed to be that it was your choice for them to choose for you, but that was an illusion in many cases. So the more you can be clear in your life, whether it's a peanut butter sandwich or something else we can't really say out loud here or get censored, but you know what the issues are of the day, it's your choice. It really is your choice. And to seize that opportunity to be a human with free will is one of the most important design elements that's new in New Earth. Not letting other people make your choices for you. That's what we'll say about this for now. Oh, great. Sylvia has this question. The message came in to me last night that I am my own authority. Can the angels speak to that? This is Raphael, Angel Raphael. Absolutely. So this word sovereignty comes up for many of you, and you think, what is that? It's kind of a new expression or worldview to even think that way. Authority to us means the same thing. You have authority over your own choice. You have authority over your own worldview. So that's where to be very cautious and careful about giving anyone else authority, because they don't have it over you. They only have it if you gift it for a short or long term to tell this person or this church, this government system, this other being in your family, whoever it is, yeah, you have authority to think for me. You have authority to make choices for me. Sovereignty in this new earth expression is such a divine right. It's been restored. It was taken for quite a long time from humanity, and we can talk at other times more about this. But for now, it's beautiful, beautiful to consider. I have the individual authority over the creation of my life. Yes, I'm co-creating with other beautiful beings, and yes, I want to honor their sovereignty, their life force, and all of that. So it's not that I become a tempestuous child and take or anything like that. And yet, it's so important that I seize what is mine, which is my authority, my sovereignty over my life. Absolutely. Absolutely. This is Raphael. And to say more about that, many people have spontaneously felt this come up in themselves, right? So it's important to notice that what spontaneously comes up in your dreams or your meditation or just your thinking during the day, you're coming into clearer communication with yourself and your guides as well. A lot of the filters and suppression systems are gone. The mind control we spoke about last year, mostly gone, mostly gone. The interior mind control. So pay attention to what you're telling yourself. This is the grace, the time of you being the authority in your life. It's beautiful. It's neutral from angelic standpoint what you choose to do with that. As long as you are not intending ill will or harm to another, it's quite neutral. So it's not about what you do with that authority, it's about recognizing you have it. That's the important part from our view of you. John has a question or comment. Anger, copious amounts of anger. How do we release long-held personal perspectives, beliefs that bring up so much anger? Is it possible to just release the anger perspectives on New Earth? Thank you for that question. This is Adria. Yeah, I've been feeling, I typically am not so much an angry person, but I've been noticing in myself and others, there's a lot of what feels like violence or anger kind of in the air this week. So I'm really curious to see what the angels will say about that. Yeah, or for me, just it comes more of a shortcut to intolerance for me in my life of like, no, I don't do that anymore. Sometimes it goes through anger, sometimes it's just like, no, not even willing to consider it. This is Raphael. Good. There's a few things going on here. It's lovely to notice when there is a collective something going on and when you are also resonating in that. So in other words, you see something happening on the news or with 2 or 3 friends and it's also happening to you. That's when it's good to pay attention. Oh, there might be something going on in the energies, clearing or new powers coming in. Can anger itself be released? As a function or a sensory input, not yes. So on New Earth, there is still anger as a tool, as an expression, as an out of balance place, all of those things. But can you release personally what you're angry about? Can you just move on? Instead of doing battle with what you used to be angry with, yes, you can shortcut to, all right, here's how we would suggest you navigate this. This is Raphael. If you are feeling quite angry about something personal in your circumstance or something global in nature, use the tool we've been offering you for a few years now, which is focus on what you want. So if you're angry about a certain kind of political suppression or not having something in your life or anything, bring the focus to what you want. I want this violence towards this certain group of people to stop. Or I want to have this thing that I want, finally. Or I want to no longer be suppressed in this particular way. So shift it to something positive. Here we're not talking about positive affirmations or positive thinking in that sense. But when you have a positive command or wish for yourself, for your authority, your sovereignty, what you're creating from your heart, it's much easier for that to happen in the fast forward timeline we're talking about than to fight against something. when you're creating something in a positive sense, here we mean jumping into it, the creative as opposed to struggle, right? It's a different paradigm entirely. That's what we suggest, how you jump into this. So use the anger as a flag. Oh, there's something I don't like here. It might be that I'm interacting with things in an old way, or that old systems are coming up in order for me to just reject them. No, I don't want that in my new earth. And you don't even have to settle with or stay on the angry part. You just move into the new paradigm you want. So we're speaking quickly today in shorthand. It's not that each of you on the call has to understand everything here. Typically, we're using words that have to do with the person who asked the question, and we also try to phrase it generally for everyone as well. So don't worry if some pieces of this just don't make sense. They might be for that one person who asked the question. Good. Margaret says, freedom, free will, peacefully. Thank you, Adria and the Angels. Yes, I love that. I love that word these days so much. Rosemary is asking, when will we see the anger and hatred diminish? But how do you keep what you think is your choice from hurting others when you think their choice can stop your choice? Beautiful question. Yeah, it comes to, we spoke in someone last year on co-creation, and let's see what the angels have to say about this particular question today. This is Raphael, Angel Raphael. In a way, on New Earth now, your life is a little bit like an intersecting hologram with other people's lives. So you really don't have to worry about, does my choice impact someone else? For example, I really want this new job, or I want to make this new company. You don't have to worry so much in the old competition sense. Well, but then someone else didn't get the new job, or maybe someone else had the same idea for a new company and I got there first, the trademark or something. You don't have to worry so much about that. The competition paradigm is largely done. That was old Earth. So when you're coming into wanting to express and make a choice, you're not choosing for everyone. Here's the core of your question. You're not choosing for everyone in your country, in your family. You're just choosing, in my life, this is what I want. I want the freedom to do this, or I choose this. You're not saying that therefore everyone else has to choose this. That's where the violence drops away and the anger drops away. If you allow others to make their choices, and maybe it's a choice that you would never make, it doesn't matter. You're also anticipating and accelerating and loving their freedom to make those choices. So keep focused for now on your choices. That's going to help navigate a time that feels a little trickier on this subject, because freedom, this will seem odd to some of you to hear this, freedom is new for humanity. So it's a little tricky to navigate some days, but you've got this, don't worry. Just focus on your choice. And when it's a positive choice that's not about harming another, it will come to pass for you in magical ways. You might be surprised. Great. Good. So we're kind of staying on the theme here of choice. Diane saying, making a choice of staying where the monies work remote and the position bring good things, but leadership is not honest nor respectful. Am I feeling scarcity there? There are not other opportunities. This is Raphael. So for those of you who like to study, here's where we underline and bold and highlight these words. There are not other opportunities. Really? The angels respond to you, really? Well, perhaps there are not in this moment because you have not created it yet. So here is the big difference. Thank you for highlighting this for everyone, for all of us here. Old Earth understanding is, I wait, I look around and I see what the opportunities are and I choose among the opportunities. They might be people, they might be houses to buy, they might be jobs, but I can only take a job that's open. I can only take a job that exists. I can only choose friends among those people that I see in my neighborhood or online. I can only make choices based on what's there. I can only buy a house that exists. It's up on realtor.com or something like this, right? That's the practical world. We're not disagreeing with the fact that that's how old Earth functioned. And so we're also not disagreeing with you for having the habit of thinking that's the way the world works. We just ask you to insert this little word old. That's the way the old world works. So the way the new world works is when you realize there's a gap there. Let's say, I like 3/4 of my current job. I like this aspect of it very much. I like this aspect of it very much. I really dislike this aspect, and this part's intolerable. So you're a little bit like a sculptor who's able to make something and then take off this part that doesn't work, but keep some other parts and then keep going with the sculpture. In this iteration, this example, this your job is the sculpture, right? The reason why there aren't other opportunities, you haven't built it yet with your creative thinking, with your mind, most importantly with your heart. Oh, this is what I want. I want to keep this aspect of my current job. I want to keep these people or people like this. I love this work dynamic. I love the money. I love the working remote, whatever it is. What I don't love is this part. So I'm asking as I create my new world to see the opportunity created for me, by me, of all of these elements plus these new ones. So be very creative with this. So this is one way of not feeling so disoriented about moving into New Earth. If you think of like Legos, before we were talking about clay, now let's use the Lego analogy. It's a little simple. You just want to take out this one block. Oh, I didn't like that piece, but I have these other building blocks still in play. And play is another good word here. As you learn to create, play with it. Be playful in your understanding, but come into your heart and you don't see a Lego block that you want, but you say, oh, I really want a purple Lego block here that would really complete things. You don't have to worry about where it's going to come from. Now, I've searched all the shelves. I know that doesn't exist. I asked the manufacturer, it doesn't exist. Well, of course not. You didn't create it yet. You didn't wish for it yet. So this is a new way of understanding, a new way of being. So play with it. You like tying your shoes or even playing with Legos. You might not get it right the first time, or it might feel like you stumble a bit, or it gets easier, it gets more fun. This is Adria. Yes, just to chime in here, I've been practicing with these ways of being. As the angel said, we've had this bridge time for a couple of years, right? So under their guidance and things they've been sharing in the groups here, I've been playing with this, creating what I want, and having a very, very concrete examples, exactly what they're talking about of, oh, I got this almost right, but these 3 things is what I want the next go around, and literally having it show up within days, and then, oops, but I forgot this part doesn't, I recognize as I look at this closer, this part doesn't really work. I know what to call it now. And then, oh, there's another opportunity to look at that sculpture as it is, and is it complete or am I still working on it? Is it a work in progress? It's a really different way of living. I'm still marveling at it myself. So I would say from my experience, it does work. Okay. This is sweet. I think I feel this way too, so I'm going to read this one. Catherine's saying, thanks for offering this live viewing. I see now that the angels and you were preparing me for New Earth several years ago when I connected with you. Apologies for my earlier doubts. Hey, just speaking from my perspective, this is Adria. It's fine to have doubts. I have a lot of doubts as we're going through all of this. I think that's what just makes us beautiful and human. And you know, pay attention to your doubts. Like have dialogue with them, because I'm not going to be right in every circumstance. Me, Adria, or me as a channel, or Angel Raphael, or Angel Raphael Ariel are not probably going to be 100% right for you every circumstance, everything that's said, right? It just makes sense, you know. I do aspire to be a very clear channel. I want that. However, um, I don't know that that's possible. Maybe it is to be 100% clear, 100% right all the time for you. You get to discern that, oh, these two things that she said or the angel said, wow, that lights up my heart, and I want to resonate with that and just try that, play with it. So you be sovereign, you take authority for trying things on and seeing if you like them and if they work. And yes, a lot of this is very new, so it's going to feel unbelievable at first for some of you. And as we get deeper in, it just gets more magical, more real, more fun. That's my experience. I made a practice for a little while of making impossible wishes of the angels just to see, just to test this out. And it was pretty fun to see the results. So I really encourage you to be playful. It's totally fine to have doubts. We're dealing with a total worldview change. Like our whole world has changed. The energy of the world, what we're capable of. So of course, I would think it would be maybe odd if all of us didn't have doubts in some ways of our new abilities. So be playful and be compassionate with yourself. Yeah, I love that one. Just recognize that we're all learning this together. It's very new. Good. So I think that's all for the questions, and it feels like the energy wants to move. The angels want to move us into either a closing message or maybe a little meditation here. So let's go in that direction. And I'm just going to take a drink of water first. This is Raphael, Angel Raphael. I am a sovereign creator being. This will be perhaps the hardest worldview for any of you to accept as we move forward here in the playfulness of New Earth. It is a playful realm, a very playful one. It's not about you being set loose in a new world without understanding or tools. It's about playing, seeing what's right, what works for you, what you like, what you don't like, ordering a peanut butter sandwich and discovering you hate peanut butter. It's that lighthearted, you know, it's not a big deal. So get it wrong sometimes, have doubts sometimes. The old layers of mind control and what is the opposite of sovereignty want to tell you that you can't create your world as you like it. So that's the piece here that can be hard to accept. It's an old worldview. It's been shadowed upon you for generations. So you have a lot of ancestral knowledge around this as well, that you are small, you're feeble, you're weak in some way. Our understanding, we just want to share with you as an opposite or alternative worldview, is that you are very strong. You create your world as you wish it to be. And that's a playful, beautiful, loving universe. And you are sovereign there. That is not saying you are taking the place of God. That's where some of the old worldview says, wait a minute, I can't be sovereign and free and create my life. That someone else was supposed to do that for me. Really? Does that make sense, really, when you think about it? Or are you this beautiful spark of the divine? Piece of the whole that is the divine, playfully living out an individual life experience, like a firework or sparkler, lighting up with all of the colors that feel important and lovely and wonderful to you right now. That's the play, that's the journey. Discover what lights you up. And that's what to make choices around. You know, it's not so serious these days. We've come into lightness of being. So that can feel dramatic. It can feel like a change because it contrasts with some worldviews you were given. You get to choose some new worldviews now. That's part of your sovereignty and your choice and your strength and your grace. Angels are with you, guides are with you, most certainly, and it's your choice. You know, angels respond to what you want for a reason. They don't tell you what to do. So if you're waiting to be told what to do, you will be very frustrated by this channel and this angelic voice. We do not like to tell you what's next in your life, what choices to make. We do love to tell you, go into your heart and see what feels like the most lovely, most divine expression of life you can think of. And live that, be that, do that. Take steps towards your reality right now as you wish it to be. Whether that is internal or external, both are the same from our view. So some of you that feel cautious about this and you want to play energetically on your internal landscape first, absolutely. And some of you that want to test this out by taking steps in the new universe, concrete steps towards new things, absolutely play that way. Beautiful. This is Adria. So the angels are asking me to close, so I'm going to honor that, and I'm going to leave this going for just a minute or two because there's a time lag. I don't want to cut off the live feed, so you might see me just sitting here for a minute. So glad and grateful that you joined me here on this new platform, and we'll be doing this every month now on YouTube Live. I should know this by heart, but I don't yet. I think it's the third Saturday of the month. Anyway, it's up on my website and it'll be up here on the YouTube channel, both for the live, upcoming live, the new date. I'll put that up, and the replay will be up once it processes. And thanks for your patience with any technical glitches. And just from my heart to yours, I'm so divinely glad that you're here on this planet and this new earth with me. Thank you for joining the playtime, the play shop. And hope to see you again on another YouTube or other ways we're working together with the angels. So much love to you. There's a workshop coming up. If you want to check my website, there's a workshop coming up through Great Barrington that is hosting, and then another play shop, angel play shop, the first Saturday of the month. So stay tuned and join in for what's new. So much love to you.